going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have to. You know, they actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it.
Tonight, you are saying to our viewers that you will go forward and file a defamation lawsuit against the BBC.
Well, I think I have an obligation to do it because you can't allow people to do that.
Amid threats from President Trump that he's going to sue the BBC for its deceptive editing of his January 6th speech, we are learning the network did it a second time. Come on, BBC. The Telegraph reporting that BBC Newsnight made a misleading edit back in 2022 to make it appear like Trump was, quote, encouraging his supporters to riot. Here it is. First, the BBC's edit, then what he really said.
We're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we fight. We fight like hell. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
Those two comments the BBC spliced together were made nearly an hour apart and weren't related. The BBC told us that the network, quote, holds itself to the highest editorial standards. This matter has been brought to our attention and we are now looking into it, end quote. Well, they better look a little harder. This comes after the network was forced to apologize to Trump after he threatened to sue over the first deceptive edit. The BBC also says it won't play the documentary again, because it's bogus, I guess. That's probably a good reason. But they won't pay out. Here to discuss, Jason Miller, former senior advisor to the Trump campaign. All right. Jason, President Trump just responded moments ago aboard Air Force One. We have a sound here of this. Watch this, and I want to get your reaction to what the president just said.
So the BBC has apologized and retracted the report, but they say they won't pay any compensation.
Well,
Is that enough?
We'll sue them for anywhere between $1 billion and $5 billion, probably sometime next week.
So you're ready?
So, Jason, you've seen it all from your vantage point and your proximity to the president. But now the president's saying definitively, yeah, we're going to probably sue them next week, $1 to $5 billion, as the president tries to scratch back his reputation. That edit was so deceptive.
Yeah, it really was. And good for President Trump for following up here and not letting off. And I think one of the things that people need to really realize here is that the BBC, as you pointed out, they've only apologized once. They didn't apologize for both of the times. They apologized for one. And the fact that they came out and said after days and days of waiting that they refuse to make President Trump whole, to pay any sort of restitution, is really unconscionable. But let me explain for people at home why the BBC is in so much trouble. The burden of proof in the UK is much different than it is in the United States. In the United States, the plaintiff, the person who was defamed, the person who's doing the suing, has to prove that what was said against them is false. But in the UK, the defendant, the media outlet who made the defamatory statement, has to prove that what they said was true. Well, as you played for the audience, there was nothing true about that statement from the BBC. They wouldn't splice things together intentionally. And then the fact that you had all the BBC leadership resign or pushed out, whatever language you want to use, that's another admission of guilt. The other thing, too, as you smartly pointed out, that President Trump really has an obligation to follow through on this, to make sure this doesn't happen again. And I tell you, President Trump and even Mrs. Trump have really been on a winning streak against the fake news ever since he came back into office. And I don't see him backing off here at all.
No, nor should he. Interestingly, Parliament was quick to back the BBC. Have a look at some of this.
President Trump is trying to destroy our BBC, not because he cares about the truth, but because he doesn't want to get away with his lies. Will the Prime Minister tell President Trump to drop his demand for $1 billion settlement from the BBC?
And the BBC must uphold the highest standards, be accountable and correct errors quickly. But I will always stand up for a strong, independent BBC.
Yeah. What's it like to stand up for strong, independent journalism or whatever he said versus a deceptive lie?
Right, exactly. And again, they're only upset because they got caught. They're not upset because they actually are disgusted with their own behavior. They just, again, they were caught doing it. And again, for the folks in the Labour Party to go and act like their hair's on fire here, here's what a lot of people don't realize. In the UK, citizens have to go and pay a licensing fee. They have to go and spend their taxpayer dollars to fund this garbage. So they're funding actual fake news. Imagine if, well, we already have the PBS, but imagine if, say, for example, we had to fund, I don't know, the attacks from NBC or ABC or some of these outlets that have attacked President Trump for years now. So this is really egregious, and folks in the UK are upset, just as upset as President Trump.
Well, they should. I think once they see and understand the gravity of the deceptive edits, and then, 2 times, that makes it all the worse. Jason Miller, thanks for joining us tonight. Really do appreciate it.